What's up, YouTube, man? Today we got a Lexus. I don't remember the model, but it's a Lexus SUV. Now on this job, it needed a new front bumper. I had to strip the hood. I had to fix the quarter panel, fix a dent in the right fender, and a new rear bumper. Now when I stripped this hood, I took it off the car. I started with, and I know some guys probably gonna kill me, you know, I started with 36 grit and I get down to like the primer, then I go to 80, you know, and then use our epoxy primer over that, and on the DA, 80 on the DA, and then I block it out, you know, and then I put it back on the car, and then I spray sealer, the hood, the top of the fenders, the front of the fenders too, because I wanted to match the bumper, which I'm gonna seal and paint the bumper. You know, I couldn't get it all in the booth now because, you know, we actually got a small booth. But yeah, fixed the dent in the quarter. It was a nasty dent, you know. It was rusty and nasty. Nice concave in the bottom of the quarter where it meets up to the bumper. But I got it done, no big deal. We spraying with the DV1. 1.3 tip, full fan, full fluid as usual, probably 15 psi. No big deal. I don't even remember the paint code on this. It ain't 1G3, it's another one, but one of these gray metallics, you know. But the color match pretty good, but you know, I'm a blender. Some people, you know, you can paint that hood, and if it don't quite match the finish, you can get away with it because of the gap between it and whatever. But you know, I like blending. Blending's my thing. Some people don't like blending, but that's my thing. You know, I'd rather do it once and be done, and then instead of paint the hood, then all of a sudden it don't match the fenders. Now you gotta go back and blend the fenders. Now you didn't spray at the same time, so now they still don't really match, but it is what it is. I think I can see some striping in that hood as I was spraying, so I'm not sure. Like, I could see it in the video, and I definitely could see it when I was in the booth. It looked like I was it was striping. So either my gun wasn't spraying right, or I wasn't holding it flat to the panel like you're supposed to, you know. But that's the problem because I'm so short, man. I'm trying to reach so far, man. I can't, you know. I call it a fake grip. You kind of gripping the gun and then pulling with that finger. You know, you barely gripping the gun and stuff. But you know, anyway, you could have got a little step ladder or something, but you know, I'm in a rush when I'm doing these jobs, man. Get to the next car, you know, so I just go ahead and get it done. But yeah, man, this thing had rock chips all across the front of the hood, faded paint. It was nasty, little rust spots everywhere, man. So they told me to go ahead and strip the whole hood. Now I don't like stripping too much. It ain't my thing, man. But this is third coat of base, man. Everything was pretty much covered after the second coat. Third coat is just to make sure, right? Because sometimes in the booth it'll look covered and you get it out there in that sun and you see those primer spots or from that sealer or whatever. Another trick I do is, which I didn't show the sealing part in this video. I should have, but I don't even think, I think I had done sealed it. Then I was like, oh, let me go get my camera. But so I will mix up the sealer and have that in my base coat gun, and then I'll put base coat blender in my clear gun. As soon as I spray down the sealer, like say, like I only spray the top and the top part of those fenders and the front part, and then I'll spray the base coat blender on the rest of the fender and letting it, letting it meet up with the sealer. That way it burns the edge of the sealer, because if you don't do it, you'll get dry spray on the edge of that sealer. And the base coat, the metallics, the high metallic colors, this is a high metallic color, the metallics will land in that dry area on the sealer, and then you'll be able to see it. You ain't gonna get rid of it unless you sand it down, because you didn't melt that edge of the sealer. You know what I mean? So like, you'll see a halo around right where you stopped that on the sealer. It happened to me about, I don't know, at least a dozen times before I finally got the picture. And see, this is, I'm going across the hood this way. You know, more of a drop coat. I'm holding the gun back, you know, doing the overlaps to get rid of that striping. Because you might not have seen the striping outside, and it might not have been striping, but this is for security. I went back across the other way just to make sure there wasn't no striping on that hood. Man, that's a hurt feeling, a striped hood. I striped a couple hoods before, but more so The only time I've ever like really got stripes in a hood with high metallic colors, I was actually spraying outside in the sun. It was a minivan, and I was doing the hood outside in the sun. And what happens is the base coat's drying too fast because it's the middle of the summer, and it's not flowing out, so it's just striping. I had a little chip there, man. What I do on these little chips, because you don't want to spray base coat there, because then it'll be right up to the door. So I just roll up a piece of tape, get it to a real fine point, get a little base coat on that little tip of that thing, get it right in that chip, and there's still a chip there, right? But once you clear it, it'll be hard to notice. You know what I mean? That's my clear gun there. I was checking it because I thought it was leaking or something. But what happened was, between the base coat, I give my base coat about 20 minutes to flash. What happened is I took my base coat gun and my clear coat gun apart to clean them, because I only take them apart maybe once every couple months. Some guys, break their guns down after every paint job. I personally think that's a waste of time. You don't actually have to do that. Paint don't go nowhere but from the cup of the gun to the front of the gun. So maybe about that much area. And usually you just run thinner through it. We got a gun washer. Put it through the gun washer. Run thinners through it and stuff, and it'll clean it out just fine. But sometimes, you have paint build up inside there somewhere, and I was thinking maybe that's where my striping came from. So I took both guns apart, cleaned them out, and, while I was waiting. Gotta have something to do when you're waiting that 15, 20, 30 minutes before you put your clear on. Because if you put your clear on too fast, it could cause it to die back, right? So I've had that problem before where you spray your clear on and it looks great, and then you come back in an hour and it don't look so shiny anymore. And usually that it'll buff out, but what's happening is all the gases from the base coat, since you didn't let it flash long enough, all the gases from the base coat is trying to come out, but you got clear over top of that. You know what I mean? So, and I don't know if that causes any adhesion problems, because I would think it would, but I don't know for sure. But I've never had any jobs come back because of it, but I have had a few of them die back on me. This one didn't die back. This one came out pretty nice. Very little bit of trash. I had a few little nibs in the hood. You're gonna get nibs reaching all the way to the middle of a hood. Something's falling off of you. It's falling off the hose, off the gun, off the roof. It just happens, bro. What people don't realize is that air coming out of that gun is like going everywhere, and it's like shooting. Like, say here, I'm spraying the top of the car, it's shooting across the top of the car, and it's hitting the wall and coming back. That's just how air works. And you don't think about it, but that's it could lead to trash coming off of anywhere, really. That's why I tack all the plastic around what I'm painting. Now that tail light, yes, you're supposed to R&I your tail lights. Don't kill me in the comments for it. But what happened with this tail light is I went to R&I it, and then it had some kind of crazy wire hooked to it, and like I couldn't find the plug, and I was reaching all the way down, and but I couldn't unplug it. So I was like, you know what? I just popped it out, scuffed behind it, put it back in, taped it up, and it had enough gap where some paint can get back there, and I scuffed behind it before I put it back in, so it was good. Finish is nice. That first coat, you don't go on too heavy, go on kind of thin. Now on hoods, man, I gave it a good 10 minutes to flash. It's running about 80 degrees in the boot. But on hoods, man, you really want to try to get that nice, right? Because, like, I don't know, the hood's like the showpiece of the car, right? Everybody looks at the hood to look for the paint job, right? The fenders can have a little orange peel, nobody really worry about it. But when it comes to the hood, people want it nice. I've painted a hood before, and it had a couple of dirt nibs in it, and the guy called complaining, talking about his paint was popping, the paint was popping, and I'm like nervous, bro. It was like a Nissan Frontier or something. I remember it just like, I'm nervous this job will come back, and I'm like, bro, it's been like a day, and what you mean the paint is popping? And then he bought the job back, and I'm like, oh, it's just like, it was like 4 or 5 dirt nibs in it. I guess he could see it when he was sitting in the car, looking across the hood. He could see the couple little dirt nibs, and that's one thing I've learned, man. Everybody thinks mainly every guy, right? some females, but mainly every guy, they think they know about paint, and they've all painted a car before, or know a guy that does it. He said this. Yeah. And usually when you talk to these people, they don't know half of what they're talking about, but they think they do. And you're just here to make them happy, man, and try to get the car looking as best as possible. No big deal. See how I slowed up on that last coat, making sure everything's coming out nice. Now on that front edge, usually I just back tape on that front edge, but since I had to strip the whole hood, I actually taped it on the seam seal line underneath, and then ran paper, and then taped the plastic to the paper, just so I can make sure I get up under that edge, because that's where a lot of rocks and bugs and everything is going to hit that hood at. And I don't want it to come back in 6 months chipping again, because they're going to swear it's something I did, but it's not really. It depends on how you drive and where you drive it. This was an older car. I think it was like a 2013 or something. A few years old, it don't seem old to me, but 2013, what, 10 years ago? But yeah, did I tell you what gun I was using? DB1 clear gun, C2 air cap, 1.3 tip. Man, it's starting to warm up outside, man. Man, we had 1 week, it was about 80 degrees every day. Then it'll go back cold. I'm waiting until it hit about 85, 90, and then I'm going to the 1.4 on this gun. I have to, because this is a slow spraying gun, so like you almost need that 1.4 when it's warmer outside. And in the wintertime I use 1.3 because I'm scared of runs. I ain't scared of them, I just don't like runs, so I go to the 1.3 in the wintertime, but the summertime I'm definitely doing a 1.4. And I don't have no footage of this one outside, but believe me when I say it came out pretty good. The people were happy with it. The dent in the quarter panel didn't happen the same time as the dent in the hood. It was two different accidents, but they got it fixed while it was in the shop. And there go that finish, man. Look at the reflection. You can see the lights in the ceiling. And that's it for this one, man. Thank you guys, man. Like, share, subscribe. If you got any questions, leave it in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.